Hi everyone. Today I want to address about a tax relief plans and strategies for the viewers who are probably just really overwhelmed with the just growing amount of your tax payments, and for those who are really stressed out with the notices from IRS and your state franchise tax boards, with all of that. Mainly you have three options here. Okay. And there are companies called tax relief companies, or whatever they call it, Fresh Start Program. And honestly, there is no such thing as Fresh Start Program. They just put a title on it so they could market themselves. But really you have three options. First is penalty abatement. That's very obvious. And nowadays, IRS also have rolled out an automatic penalty abatement program where by default, IRS will scan for your possible penalty abatement options and it'll automatically waive it for you. And if that happens, you're going to get a letter from IRS. So you're going to find out about it. Now, if you have any special reasons or medical reasons or any type of reasonable cause that resulted in you filing tax returns late, then yes, you can request in writing for IRS to consider a penalty abatement. It's not guaranteed, but it's worth the effort. And so that's your first option. Second option is regarding the actual tax balance, is your payment plan. And by default, IRS allows taxpayers for any balance under $50,000 to be set up in the installment payment plan over 5 years. And that allows taxpayers to be able to afford to pay the taxes without having to worry about your wages being garnished or your personal assets being levied. So that's the second option here. Now, your third option, so your final resort, is offering compromise. Now, offering compromise is really you telling IRS that you do not have the financial means and all of the money to pay the tax, pretty much, and you're basically settling with IRS on the tax balance. Offering compromise is a very helpful tool, but it only works if you can prove to IRS that you do not have the future income, you do not have any assets or anything to pay the tax, basically. So offering compromise worksheet basically requires you to write down your current income, your any disposable assets, any other investments you have laying around here and there. So you'll need to disclose all that information. And then you also need to write down your living expenses, right? Because IRS, they want you to live. And so your mortgage, your rent, your food, etc., those necessary expenses are excluded. Then if the remaining funds or the remaining income is not enough for you to keep up with the option two, the payment plans, then yes, you're on the table with IRS to a potential settlement to reduce your overall tax balance. It's a somewhat lengthy process. So three options here. Tax is tax. You probably don't want to deal with this, but unfortunately it's the tax on your income. All US taxpayers need to pay the tax, unfortunately, right? Now, to go a step further, what I would recommend is you set up a payment plan with IRS. You go through offering compromise, set up a payment plan. Then on the years going forward, you have to change the way you do your income taxes, meaning you have to stay proactive. Is my withholding on track? Or if I really insist that I do not withhold my taxes here, then for what reason, right? Do I have other deductions that I can utilize? Or is there any other tax credits that can be applied? And whether you do that on your own or hire a tax professional, my recommendation is that you stay conservative with your tax withholding so that it will result in at least a refund, if not more of a refund, that every year that you receive your tax refund, you will use that to apply against the prior year unpaid taxes. In that way, your monthly payment plus the refund will knock off the back taxes, and hopefully it will relieve you from this whole tax nightmare a lot sooner than planned. So that's my recommendation. and some explanation about relieving and finding resolution with the a lot of back taxes to worry about. Again, it's not only to address the back taxes here, but remember this, it involves in you changing the way you see income taxes. It's not just something that you deal with during tax season. You have to be proactive at least once or twice a year during the year. Look at your numbers, look at your pay stubs, consult with a tax professional, or get some help really, and change that way going forward. And I guarantee that you're going to really have a lot less stress, obviously. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you all have a blessed day.